This is a success story.
We have to look at attitudes and beliefs and philosophies. Because integration means that you incorporate a child with special needs into...
It is a message about circles, about belonging, about community.
A friend is someone who's there for you when you need them.
The message tells us that everyone belongs within our community with all their gifts, no matter who they are. There is a place for everyone.
Has something deep down inside that knows when somebody needs a friend.
Meet Randy. He is a 14-year-old 7th grader who just happens to have an extra chromosome. He attends regular classes at junior high school. He belongs to a cohesive circle of friends. Randy is a functioning member of society. All of this, however, did not happen as a matter of course. It came about because of the efforts of Nadine, Randy's mother. She had a dream for Randy from the moment he was born.
My very first thoughts I can remember were that he would go to a regular school. And from that moment on, I felt that that is what I wanted for Randy, and so I strove for that.
When Randy became school age, integration was virtually unknown. It was up to Nadine to coordinate the teachers to work towards her goal. The teachers looked to her for guidance, and at times she felt ill-prepared for the task. It was her dream for Randy that guided her.
But I did know what I wanted for my son, and I wanted him to have a good educational background, you know, good basic education in reading and writing and math, but I also wanted him to have those socialization skills that only those kids and those teachers could give him. Right. And he couldn't get that in a segregated classroom. I wanted him in there. I wanted him to be a part of that classroom and that community.
How's a kid supposed to learn without friends to whom they turn? What is a picture without a solid frame?
Dr. Patrick Mackan is an educator who has striven for integration for many years. He explains what it means to him.
I think restructuring the community, I think making a school a place where all kids belong, all kids. And there shouldn't be special schools or special classrooms, that there just should be a school where all kids go. So I guess I've moved beyond the word integration now to saying that a school should be a community where every child feels that he or she belongs. The kaleidoscope is such a beautiful image because it's, first of all, the kaleidoscope is something that's constantly changing, constantly evolving and rotating, and that we should be looking at all kids and all of education in that mode of all these different talents and gifts and sizes and shapes of kids, and finding ways in which they can be in class and be in school together.
A kaleidoscope of personalities, a circle of trusted friends.
I find it kind of nice to be in a circle of friends because there's always people there to help you, and you're always there to help others. We should have had the circle of friends last year because he wasn't as open then. Now we know him better, we're closer to him, and he's really opened up a lot.
The Circle of Friends started at the beginning of junior high. We started the Circle of Friends because we thought Randy would need help during the school year, and we also thought it would help us solve our problems and him solve his problems too.
This is Randy's circle of friends. They formed a support system around him when he made the difficult transition between elementary and junior high. They help him with everyday questions and problems. The circle meets formally every couple of weeks to talk and share.
A kaleidoscope reveals something of appeal. It's the beauty of the mix that astounds.
When we come back, we'll see Randy's circle of friends in action.
Your combination, your lock with the key is working okay now?
Yep.
We were also having some difficulties with getting to class on time.
He's fine.
He's fine now.
Okay, can you tell us what happened? How did we correct that?
My period 6 class, Mrs. Gross, she timed them.
Most of us have 4 circles in our lives. The first includes our most intimate relationships. The second, friends and acquaintances. The third, the people we associate with. And in our 4th circle are those we pay for services, like doctors and lawyers.
With a child with disabilities, Circle 2, acquaintances, and Circle 3, clubs and places I work, organizations I belong to, don't exist. And that's the tragedy of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
The only people in the life of a child with disability, family, paid workers,
Paid workers.
therapists, social workers, group home directors, government people. And so there's that whole space in their life misses. Now, let's remove the inner circle. What happens when those parents die?
Randy's circle helps him solve problems and gives him a solid support system. But it gives him more than that. The circle is a group of friends. They all consider each other true friends.
So you're getting back on time, all by yourself. That's great, Randy. Good. Okay, any concerns? Anything that you think might happen that we might need to help Randy with the next little while?
Are you going to the dance, Randy? Next Friday, not tomorrow. Next Friday.
Next Friday, I just my mom about that. About the Oscar. Yeah, but he lets me stay for at 10, probably. Yeah. And he picks me up. And Mom would say, how's my dance? I'd say, great.
Randy has found the music at the dances too loud. His friends found an easy solution.
Same with the dances.
Yeah,
But we go out in the lobby and dance with
yeah,
them.
he dances outside.
Or we bring him halfway in the gym or something.
Or else we can get him here.
All over this country, students who are labeled handicapped and segregated are integrating into regular classrooms. For every different school, there's a different method for accomplishing the task. Whatever the method, the result is the same. Kids who were once segregated are now a part of the whole. They are becoming known by their peers. They will grow up a part of the community. It is a transition in our education system and ultimately within our society. There are benefits, but the benefits are born of work, and teachers are at the forefront of the transition.
I'm working with Jeff Burr and Betty Anton in the computer room. It's a typing class. Actually, I was a little nervous as I really didn't know what to expect. As I became more familiar with the students, it really became less of a problem, less of a concern. I find them very easy to work with. Like I mentioned before, it does take some extra work occasionally, not all the time, but it also can be very rewarding.
Emmy Lou does not have a formal circle of friends, but she is still surrounded by a group of her peers who find it quite natural to be her friend, simply because she is a part of the class.
Do you want me to watch you, Emmy?
Justin is in grade 1. He is blind and has trouble getting around. Linda, his teacher, speaks very openly about the apprehension she and her students experienced at the beginning of the school year.
I think so. You know, at the very beginning of the year, they were afraid and apprehensive, the same as me. And then eventually, I think you just get used to it and you get
This
more
class had an opportunity that few individuals ever get a chance to try. They were given a taste of what it is like to be in someone else's shoes. The students were given a special orientation when Justin joined their class.
They orientated my class
as to show them what it would be like to be blind themselves. And actually it was very good because they blindfolded the kids and it made them realize what Justin is going through.
Now Justin's classmates are comfortable with him. He is just a natural part of the group. Linda can see the effect integration is having on Justin's classmates.
And they'll probably be more accepting. And I think they'll look at handicapped people as more a part of society than they have been looked at before.
What Randy Chandler has taught me most is that he's a person, and we can touch him, and we can love him, and we can hug him. And most of all, we can really discipline him. And that's, I think, the thing that we're most scared to do, is make him... I look upon the year with Randy as being a learning year. It was a time of frustration, not knowing what was expected of me as a classroom teacher, how much so-called education I would be able to provide for him. At one point, I did look at putting him on an individualized program, but it doesn't fit. If he's going to be in a classroom, he needs to operate in the same, he needs to operate with the class, socializing with them, sharing in discussion with them. If he's on an individualized program, it's not going to be beneficial to him.
It takes this kind of a commitment to really make integration work in our schools. It takes a team effort in which not only the teacher and the students are involved, but the classmates, the principal, and most of all, the parents.
We take a lot of parent input. We still are convinced that parents know their own children far better than anybody else does. And so we really rely on the parents to tell us what the needs are. It's usually been the most important part of a meeting is to get from the parents things that they have seen that they needed.
It's incredible, the power that this wields, and my dream for Randy.
All of these people, parents, teachers, friends, have come together to talk about their experiences and their thoughts.
We all have different needs, we all have different speeds, but there's one thing that makes us all the same.
We must pause now, but when we return, we'll hear from them.
Our program for Justin is just wonderful, and they're using his imagination that he has. It's just wonderful, and the kids love to come around and take him out for recess and just play with him as a friend, and
I think we don't use kids enough, and I think that's why with Randy's Circle it is just so wonderful to be involved in something like that, because the kids, their opinions.
When the teachers and the principals and all the kids finally realized that he was just another kid, then everything seemed to mellow out a little bit.
But as adults, as we've all said, we have the hang-ups. You know, we have, because we weren't taught any differently. Our kids are taught differently now. You know, and maybe if we had had that experience, we would be okay too.
Joining the group this evening are two parents who are relatively new to the topic at hand. Kevin and Arlene have a daughter, Jennifer. She is in grade 1.
To learn the true value of a person, I mean, you have to experience that person. And if they're segregated and their potential is more or less leashed, you know, how many people have had their minds held back from achieving, you know, what their optimum potential could have been through segregation? You know, had they been given the equal integration opportunities and not been put into a carved-in stone curriculum where this is all you're expected to do. Learn how to make the bed, you know, don't worry about reading. Society doesn't expect you to know how to read. All they expect you to be able to do is, you know, just to get by with as minimal supervision as possible, because we have group homes that we can put you into.
When Jennifer became old enough to attend elementary school, Kevin and Arlene approached a school with the request that their daughter be integrated into regular classes. They were refused. The second school they approached welcomed them with open arms.
It's really working out well because Jennifer is responding to what we would call normal 6-year-old behavior. She's getting the modeling from the other children. From the very first day that Jennifer walked in the class, I don't think anyone saw her, the children, as any different. She was just another grade 1 student coming in. Is that the way it's spelled? At the beginning, we had to sit right next to her, or we got the whole paper or book would be ripped or scribbled on. The task was just never completed. Now we can give her a task and walk away, and she can complete it by herself. Come back and say, look what I did, really proud.
This teacher has had the total support of her principal in the education of this child, and the results are instructive to us all.
I feel that I am backed up. I feel that I don't think I would have been able to do it as successfully if I didn't have people I could say, this is what I'm experiencing today, I'm pulling out my hair, and get a sounding board so that I could go and try something different.
I think above all, the teacher needs to know that whatever they want, whatever they need to assist them in integrating that child into their classroom, I will provide. They have to know they have my support.
We have to start planning well ahead because you're not going to put a ramp in the day before school starts for a child that's in a wheelchair.
I think the teacher, the administrator, the parents need to understand the philosophy and the concept of a circle of friends. And it will develop naturally, and we have certainly seen that with Jennifer. But unless we're formally aware of the process of how the circle develops and how you can formalize it later on, then it's a little haphazard.
And you're the dad?
I'm the dad.
You're the dad. And these are all Kent's friends in grade 6 last year, going into 7 this year, right? Well, that's wonderful. Magnificent.
Kent Circle is just newly formed and is about to participate in a very important procedure.
First of all, say thanks a million, because what I'm going to do is kind of lead you through this, what we call a map. We're going to do a map, and we're going to do a picture of Kent and see what we can come up with as far as seeing how we can enrich his school program.
A map is a planning session. It is the tool by which the dream of integration is made reality. These people are all closely linked to Kent in one way or another. Most importantly, they are all functioning as a team. Their goal is to see Kent realize his greatest potential.
Linda Peterson, I'm Kent's mom.
Kent's mom.
I'm Tammy Peterson, and I'm Kent's sister.
I'm Erin, and I'm part of Kent Circle.
Okay.
Who's this guy?
Who's this guy?
I'm Kent Peterson. I'm in the middle of my circle.
Oh, that's great.
In effect, the group is brainstorming. They talk about who Kent is, what they dream for him, what Kent dreams for himself.
As we begin to discover who Kent is, and it's very important, I think, to maybe ask Kent, what do you want to be in your life? What would you like to, after you're all through school and you get to be the great big age of 21 or 22, what would you like your life to look like? What do you want in your life?
Taxi driver.
Oh, wonderful. So he wants to be a taxi driver. You ever thought of anything else? So that'd be great. Where would you like to live?
In an apartment with a pool.
Oh, with a pool. So, Mom and Dad, would you like to see anything else in Kent's life?
To make Kent's dreams come true, they work at revealing his talents and gifts and the areas in which he needs to improve.
You know, when you look at that, you have a very interesting human being here. You have a person who's got a very positive attitude, one who will always ask for help. He's not hung up on his own ideas or his way of doing things. And he's a person who's very sensitive to others. When you put those three things together, you can think of his dream. Begin to think of how could we keep enhancing those things and allowing those to develop and grow?
One thing that I see, it says there that Kent enjoys reading, and that's true. And it also says that he needs to broaden his interest a little bit. There are some very, very good children's magazines which talk about science, social studies, things happening around the world events. And I think if Kent started reading some of those during the summer...
By the time they have finished, the group has formed an action plan for Kent's success. His new teachers will be given the information that has been formulated in this mapping session. This meeting will take place in a few weeks, but for now, a lot has been accomplished towards easing the anxieties of his family.
There's a lot of fears with that, but then when I hear this kind of stuff, like, it just makes me feel good to know that, you know, there are other kids, their peers that have been with him. I can just feel, like Nadine said, the burden just off my shoulders, you know, like, because if there's something happening, somebody will.
How do you feel about being here with all these people who are so interested in you? And
Excellent.
All the same. How's the kid supposed to learn without friends to whom they turn? What is a picture without a solid frame?
when you all of a sudden say we're going to bring the most excluded student into our classroom, everybody else feels that any little difficulty they have, it's okay, that like we all belong together, and together we can work things out. So it's a sense of belonging.
Well, a circle of friends is one that never ends, like ripples moving outward and beyond. As the ripples move on through, the dream